What do you feel is the number one biggest challenge that SEOs face in 2021?
I would actually say this is a challenge that has been around for a very long time. It's highlighting the importance of SEO to clients. Forget about Google algorithms and everything. I think that's all secondary. The primary thing is how do you get your business to understand the role of SEO in your complete marketing funnel. Once you're able to do that, then things automatically progress. The clients understand the importance of SEO, and that's how you go. So the challenge here is how do you put through a narrative that will help clients understand that this is where SEO will contribute to my marketing funnel.
That's Mateen Aggar. He's Global Head of SEO for Virgin Megastores, just talking about the importance of being able to communicate that vision.
What do you feel is the number one challenge facing SEOs in 2022? Go.
I think it's the same thing that's been facing them for a long time, that no one trusts them at all, and that they think they're dodgy. So I think that's the number one problem, building credibility and trust with customers.
Show of hands, who's ever heard the words SEO and dodgy in the same sentence? Be honest, it's out there. And building that trust, you can't build that trust sitting there, knee deep in code. You need to be able to communicate what you're doing, why you're doing it.
What is the number one challenge facing SEOs in 2022?
I love that question. Getting things done. I've been, in doing SEO probably now 15, 16 years. We are advisors. We are not doers. There are a few of us that can program. There are a few of us that can write content. But ultimately, we're coming up with strategies and plans, and we can't get things done. And I'd say, whether you're in-house or a consultant or a blogger, anything you are, making things happen. We need people around you. And I think the biggest challenge is always, you've got a great plan. How do you get that plan to happen in a reasonable amount of time? That, I think, is the biggest challenge, getting things done, making things happen.
So it says soft skills. It's communicating, it's getting buy-in, it's getting all the stakeholders across the why of where we're going. That was Eli Swartz. He's got a book called Product-Led SEO. If you love SEO, you should check out his book. Super clever dude. And he's been in charge of SEO for SurveyMonkey, WordPress, just some of the biggest online companies in the world.
What do you think is the biggest challenge, the number one challenge facing SEOs in 2022?
Such a good question. There's so many ones that I can think of just from a ranking perspective. But if I had to put my finger on the number one challenge that the SEOs are going to have in 2022 is really going to be about proving the value of the ROI of the SEO. So, we're still in this time of COVID where, things are still uncertain. It's putting a lot of emphasis on what the power of external search can do. And so it takes a lot of multiple different strategies in order to really move the needle to become number one or to get the highest rankings you can on Google. And so being able to prove the value of those strategies, I think, are going to be really important this year.
That's Leanne Follis, Global Head of SEO for JLL, Jones Lang LaSalle, the second biggest commercial real estate firm in the world. Anyway, you get the idea. Those soft skills and being able to communicate it, all of the best SEOs understand that is what makes them different. And that is what brings them traction in what they're doing. So, tactics are important though. And, the tactics that you're putting in place, not just communicating them, are really important. The head of SEO at Applebee's would just like you to think about one last thing, and then I'll get into the tactics.
What is the number one biggest challenge that SEOs face in 2022? Go.
Differentiating yourself from what others are doing. Stop following checklists and really think outside the box.
Cool. Okay. That's soft skills. Let's get into the actual tactical tips. Okay, so there's a lot here. I'll get through all of them. Some of them I'll rush through. If you've got any questions, just feel free to throw them at me. But this is 22 actionable tips to put into your SEO strategy right away. Now, just to set the table, this is kind of beginner to intermediate. So if we've got anyone who's been doing SEO for 3-4 years plus, you're probably going to see this and go, duh. But there's some stuff here that you've probably tried a little bit of, but you haven't sort of gone in as deep as what we're going to share. There's a slight slant towards e-commerce, so I'll just put that out there up front, but it's still mostly applicable across all sites. Where there are e-com tips, we break e-com. There is actually only a handful of e-commerce people, so I might skip past these. If you have an e-com site and you want to talk more about spec versus design-based structure, that's something we can talk about in a bit more detail, because that will inform the strategy before you move forward into the whole strategy. Crawl budget. So that's basically the number of pages that Google will index within a given time frame. I'm going to be talking about crawl budget a bit as I make my way through. So that's basically what that's about. Okay, let's go. Tip 1, for e-com specifically, prevent product page duplication by ensuring that the product variants canonicalize to the base product URL. Now, this is also relevant for non-e-com, but it's basically talking about where you've got a product that has a range, or a service that has a range of different variants on it. You don't necessarily want every one of those variants to get crawled and indexed by Google, because you're wasting crawl budget. Maybe you just want the main one. There might be one color. There might be one product that you need to get crawled and indexed. So that should be the one that gets canonicalized. So canonicalizing is the URL that gets picked up by Google. What Nordstrom do here, this could be relevant to not just e-com, but also for service-based, is they have a code set up where basically if there's a particular product that is either high or low in stock and they want to prioritize, that product will canonicalize and get found by the search engines. Not all the different colors of that wasting crawl budget on one product or one service. If we take that a step further into non-e-com, we can talk about just making sure there's less duplication by using a program like Copyscape, so that we don't have serious duplication across your pages. What we're looking for is, anything over 30% content duplication is going to be an issue. You want your copywriters. We've got a few copywriters in here, I believe, who will need to get to rewriting and do their thing. I will say I am a big fan of copywriters over machine and AI and all that sort of stuff, because a lot of the intricacies of this stuff is just better written by copywriters. Maybe the machines get there one day. I don't know. I was a copywriter for 10 years. I might be a little bit biased, but I think that humans do a much better job of context, and especially when we're talking about a scalable across a range of different services and categories. Just an example there. Wait a sec. Tip 2. Prevent thin content by fleshing out at least 200 to 300 words on a category page. Again, if we're talking about non-e-com, the category could be a particular type of service, and then you've got your service, your sub-services underneath. But you need to have some content there for the bots to crawl and index. Lots of people, especially for D2C brands, get concerned that, well, if I've got all of that content, my SEO agency wants me to put like 500 words of copy. But if someone's scrolling through their phone, I don't want them seeing big blocks of copy. I want them to buy stuff. Of course you do. But what you can do is use those Arcadian, read more type things. So you don't have all the copy showing, but if someone wants to see it, and they might only want to see it 1% of the time, they click it, boom, there that copy shows up. The bots will still pick it up, even if it's not showing all the time, so you still get your SEO value. For non-e-com, just a bit more specific, perform a landing page content audit on the top 3 ranking sites and identify the word count that you need to rank. Okay, so let's say you've got a particular keyword, a particular service that you want to rank for, and there's some keywords that are relevant to that. Quite often we'll go to SEMrush, Ahrefs, you might pull things into Supermetrics and all different sorts of things. Google's got the answers there. It's telling us what it likes and what it wants to rank on Google. Do the search, check out what's ranking, do an audit, figure out, okay, well, how many words are they actually ranking for? If they're all putting, 400 to 500 keywords, then great. You don't need to write 1,000 words. You probably don't need to write 200 or 300. You probably shouldn't write 200 or 300. You want to look at around that sort of minimum word count. For e-commerce, but again, is applicable across all, go deeper into categorization and cater to audiences that are looking for specific terms. Okay, so the example here is coffee tables. You might categorize that further into black coffee tables, glass coffee tables, marble coffee tables, pine coffee tables. Wherever there's search volume, wherever there is intent and there's some volumes to go after, you should have a page specific to that, which then fleshes out into products. So we're using those keyword volumes to help figure out, okay, is there intent there? Yes, there is. Let's structure our site based on where the intent is. For non-e-com, again, just services. So the example here, we've got a client who does asset management, but that can be broken into things like asset forecasting, asset procuring, asset planning. As long as there is search volume there, there is intent there. If there's intent there, you should build a page for that intent. just an example here of a heap of different categories. E-com's always good for examples because there's so much product and so many ideas. So there's just each of those. Oh, what have I stepped on? Each of those will be a good example of intent because there's volume there. Alrighty. Andrew. Is Andrew here? No? Okay. Give me 2 seconds. I'll get this up. Next slide is actually on Core Web Vitals, which you'll see on your screen in a moment. Hands up if you heard about the Core Web Vitals algo change last year. Just one person. Okay. Was your SEO jumping up and down about it? This was going to be the end of the world? No, a little bit. So Core Web Vitals is, Andrew, Core Web Vitals is basically about page experience. And it's about making sure that your site is loading quickly. Everything's loading nice and quickly in it. And there's a tool called PageSpeed Insights where you can punch your website in. It shows you exactly where the errors are. Core Web Vitals is where you're looking for a green score in the 90 plus. So you should be running your site through it. Now these slides, as entertaining as I think this presentation is, talking to this stuff is nowhere near as interesting as actually seeing it as well. So I'm just going to take a minute to see if I can get this loaded again. Excuse me, guys. Can Andrew hear me? Andrew, help. Andrew, Aaron. Hello. Okay. Hold on. Sorry, guys. Oh. He was joking before that he wouldn't need to leave, that he'd be able to leave because you know what you're doing, Russ. But guess what? Nope. I thought I might have stepped on a cord. Andrew, I stepped over here. I can talk all day. I don't know how interesting it'll be without the slides though. So we might come back to this in a moment. So we are up to tip 5. We've got another 17 to go, which I'll get through as quickly as I can once this is back. All right, let's do some networking. All right, everyone up on your feet. We're going to take a break from the SEO because it's dry anyway. So up on your feet. Thank you. All right, this game, I've got a swag bag. Actually, Sarah, where are you? Did you come and get your bag? Oh, it's here. Cool. All right, so I've got another prize. There you are. That's from before. Cool. This game is called My New Best Friend. All right, so what I need you to do is find someone that you don't know with pen and paper, okay? And what you need to do is I want you to come up with things you have in common, work-related, personal, where you've lived, colour of your hair, anything. Things you have in common with someone you've never met before, okay? So find someone, one person, one list, okay? And let's see how long that list can be. The longest list wins. All righty. Time's up, pens down. Great work, everyone. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, it's time to see who our new best friends are. Okay. Thank you so much. Hey, thanks for being an awesome audience. For those who are charging phones and that sort of thing, there are charging stations at the end up there and at the end up here. Someone accidentally knocked out the power to the projector because they plugged the charger in, but there's charging stations here. So I probably should have let you know that. But thank you everyone for being so up for just that quick little activity. What we're going to do now, we've got 2 bags. Has everyone seen the movie Step Brothers? Yes, that's why this game is called My New Best Friend, because you just figured out you've got all of these things in common with, oh, don't do it again, Russ, with someone else. Okay, so if you got more than, let's say, 6 things in common, if that list has more than 6 things, stand up. More than 6 things. Okay, cool. All right, we've got a lot of, okay. More than, stay standing if it's more than 7. 7 or more, standing. 8 or more, stay standing. 9, 10, 12. Oh, okay. We've still got some? No? 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. We're going to hear this list too, by the way. 17, 18, 19. Oh, wow, good job, good job. How many? Okay, where's that orange box? We need to hear this list. Tell us about your new best friend.
Hey, oh, he's got one.
Does this one work? Yes.
This one's better.
Oh, that
This
one's better.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm talking into this mic.
You guys?
Okay.
Okay.
Let's speak right into it.
All right.
What were your names? So this is
Casey.
Casey and
Sandra.
Sandra. Sandra, you need to hold it right up there so the people on camera can hear you.
Okay. So I'm just going to go down a list.
Okay.
Okay. So my middle name is Carol, and Casey's aunt is Carol.
Okay.
Casey grew up in Jonesboro, Arkansas. My mom and dad lived in Jonesboro, Georgia. She works in home improvement, and one of the stations is in Buffalo, and I went to a college art school in Buffalo. We both have very artistic husbands. Her husband is very outdoorsy and loves to hike, and so does mine. She has 1 brother and 2 step-sisters, and I don't. Okay, so that doesn't count. Sorry. All right, you go on some.
Okay, we both have children, a 9-year-old, 10-year-old that love to swim. We both love the beach. We both love red wine and margaritas on the rocks. And we both love Def Leppard and have been to Def Leppard tribute concerts.
Oh, Def Leppard. Love it.
And then, what was the other one?
Your stepmother is from Germany,
Yes.
and I went to Germany. And yes, that does count.
We make it count.
Hey, we're marketers. You're supposed to get creative. Come on.
That's right. Casey loves to cook. One
Yep.
of her favorite things to love to cook, stroganoff, and I love to eat stroganoff, but I
Okay.
also love to cook.
Okay.
I think that takes care of it.
Did anyone keep count of that? That sounded pretty good. All right, give them a round of applause, everyone. Well done, Casey and Sandra. There you go. Swag back. There you go. Good job. Hey, just while we're on that quickly, I've got 10 minutes to wrap through this, which I will. Have a think about that person, your new best friend. If you could think of between now and when we leave tomorrow, just one thing that might help them career-wise, in your network, personal, business, whatever. Somewhere where you can buy a brand new basketball cap, I don't know. Something because you know a lot about them. One thing. If we can all walk away helping one other person with one thing, that'd be a pretty good result for the networking, I think. So just have a think about that over the next day and a half. Okay, back to SEO. Woo, come on. So that's page speed insights. Page speed is critical. Page speed insights again. So if you're not aware of it, it's a free tool. Google page speed insights. We're up to like tip 6, so I'm going to zoom through. Dive deep into Google Search Console. Okay, show of hands, who has logged into Google Search Console in the last year? Okay, that's all right. So we've got people, everyone's at least familiar of it. There's 3 major things that you can find out via GSC. Firstly, split of brand and non-brand. Why is it important to know this split? Does anyone want to have a stab at why you should know your difference of brand-related terms and non-brand-related terms? It's okay, I can say it because I know the answer. Okay, so brand is obviously people who know your brand. They're putting your brand into Google. Your other marketing teams or your marketing team or yourself have done great work. They know your brand, great. Non-brand is people who don't know your brand. So if you want net new customer acquisition, you need to have a strong non-branded SEO terms within your SEO keyword profile. So knowing that split can tell you whether the non-branded SEO is actually bringing in new clients or not over time. You can watch that trend. There's also, you can look at all your technical issues under the coverage section in GSC. So technical SEO, much bigger and bigger part of how you can improve your SEO. That is a big help for you there. Now, this one's really important. There's a big day coming up next week, July 4, right? If your business is running any type of promotion around Independence Day, July 4, anything like that, you're probably running paid media campaigns to that page to get whatever it is, exposure, leads, eyeballs, whatever it is. You've got an opportunity also to get some free organic traffic if you submit that page into Google Search Console and get it indexed, okay? If your competitors aren't, you might get some free traffic really quickly. So think about those key dates where you're running those campaigns that are event or season or date specific, and you're paying traffic to get there. Pop it into Search Console, see if you can get some free traffic as well. High quality internal filters. This is probably more relevant to e-com, so I'm going to skip past it. Low value pages like blog tag pages are not indexable, right? So let's say you've got a resources section, knowledge hub, blog. You've got all of those different types of filters in there that say what type of content it is. So if you're a bank, it might be things around, mortgages, business banking, etc., all these different things. If someone does a search and that blog tag comes up, they'll get that funky URL, which has got like equals, question marks. You've seen those ones? You do not want Google indexing those. It's a waste of your crawl budget. Okay, so you need to make sure that your crawl budget isn't wasted on those funky search resulted URLs. Oh, I skipped over one. I'll templatize meta descriptions more so for high volume, either B2C or lots of really deep sites. You want to give yourself an opportunity to just be more efficient. Make the product pages. So this is whether it's a product that you transact or whether it's a service on your site, just make them as information rich as possible. So things like third-party testimonials, pros and cons, videos, that kind of stuff that you can see on there. It just gives you an opportunity to stand apart from your competitors. It means when someone clicks on that, land on your page, they might last a little bit longer, which Google sees and they like. So you're really trying to stand out from your competitors. For e-commerce, rating and review schema, really important, but we've only got a couple of e-com business people in the room. So I'll skip to the non-e-com version, which is the same, but you're looking at different schemas like event schema, recipe schema, if it's some kind of food site. So what you're trying to do is get a big slab of content on that search engine result page. If you think about that search engine result page, right, there's 10, or actually latest news is actually only between 7 to 10 organic listings showing on that page. The more space you can inhabit on that page, the higher the click-through, hence why schema is really important. Google Ads to test user intent. Does anyone here have a Google Ads team that meets with their SEO team? Hand in the air. Cool. Do you meet more than once a week? Twice a month? How often? Twice a month. Okay, cool. Do you guys work together? No, just random. Okay, cool. I've worked with businesses where their Google Ads team and their SEO team and their content team and their dev team are literally in different buildings, sometimes in different cities. So to try to get them to communicate, really, really hard. The thing is, if you're going to put something into your organic search strategy that you think, well, all our competitors are ranking for it, it looks like it'd be good traffic, let's put all this time and resources and content and links and everything else into that and see how it goes. Then you get it there 6-12 months later, and it's poor traffic. It's not converting. You've got Google Ads. If your teams are working really closely together, test it through Google Ads, get that quick customer feedback. Yes, these keywords convert. Yes, they're the right type of traffic, the right type of customers. Boom, get it into your SEO. URLs are case sensitive and also slash sensitive. So just remember that, like, you want to make sure you've made a decision on whether they're lowercase, they should be lowercase, whether there's a trailing slash or not, because every one of those individual URLs will be indexed. So you need to make a decision on that. Limit title tags to 55 to 60 characters so that Google does not cut them off. If it's longer than that, you're going to have like a half a sentence, 3/4 of a sentence. We do this, and where your competitors are getting like a full value proposition. Boom, boom. Who are they going to click through to? Someone who they know what they do? Well, they maybe know. These are basic hygiene things, but they make a difference with click-through rate. Here's an example there of the description. This is a big one. Segment your keyword research into the 4 best practice categories, right? Think about your funnel. I know, we don't use funnels anymore. Don't say funnel. we're marketers, you still say funnel. There is informational type keywords at top of funnel, navigational a little bit further down, commercial, transactional, right? Transactional, buy now. Commercial, thinking about buying. Navigational and informational, more information, education about the brand, the product, the solution. E-commerce brands will have a skew of keywords at the bottom, okay? A big B2B brand, long sales cycle, your skew of keywords will be more towards the top because you're educating, you're nurturing. So do an audit on the keywords in your site, pull them all out into a spreadsheet, figure out where they sit, and then think about your sales cycle. Does it match? The quicker the sales cycle, the more keywords will skew towards the bottom. The longer the sales cycle, the more you should have skewed towards the top. Informational, navigational. That's a question. Yes. Yes. If you'd like these slides, our stand is just around the corner. Just Angelique is on the stand. We're also doing free SEO audits. So leave your details with Angelique and we can send them to you. So this is a quick video, which I want to zoom through because I'm short on time for some reason.
What's the number one biggest challenge that you think SEOs face in 2022?
That they're not content writers, or they're not very good at content sometimes. And it's becoming a little bit more siloed. Maybe I'm wrong, but I kind of feel like there's now like Moses has come and the sea has split. Tech SEOs are on one side and content SEOs now on the other side. And if they could throw spears at each other and kill each other, they would. You can't do that in public.
So there has been a bit of a schism between content and technical, but they need to work together. Things like that keyword analysis I just mentioned, where your technical SEOs are doing all that audit and they know that, okay, well, it should look like this. If they're not working closely with the content SEO, guess what happens to that spreadsheet? How many of you have seen those spreadsheets, hours and hours of them get put together, they never get implemented because your teams aren't working really closely together. I'm going to zoom through these really quick. Optimize 404s. I will give you a copy of this if you'd like it. Just go around and see Angelique, so we've got your details. Backlinks are great, but internal links, if you haven't done, ask your SEO team the last time they did an internal link audit. If it's not within the last 6 months, make it a priority. The quick rationale to that is most people focus on their homepage, domain authority, main category pages, domain, quite strong pages. Then you've got all these other pages that no one focuses on. But domain authority is made up of page authority. If you internally link your strong pages to your weaker pages, that SEO juice, gross term, but that's what we say, that SEO juice gets fed through to the other pages. The page authority lifts, domain authority for the whole site lifts. Make sense? Yes.
Question about that.
Yeah.
Is it better to, when you're internal linking, use cluster mapping to do that, or does it matter?
It's a bigger question than I can answer in 1 minute, so I'll talk to you afterwards. Good question, though. Step outside the tools, go to Google. I did mention this before. H1 tags. Google often will take the H1 rather than the title now. So do an audit on your H1s. Does it say what the actual page is doing or not? What the page is about? Copywriters, professional SEO copywriters, especially for meta descriptions, it's prime real estate to try to get click-through. Embed products into your content strategy. And the last one, subscribe to SEO success stories because there's lots more clever tips like this. Cool. Hat tips, because SEO is a team sport. The best SEOs are just curious people who want to find out more from other curious people. And also because Google doesn't actually give you, here is the formula. So you need clever people around you doing lots of experimenting and lots of testing to figure out how your site can rank. One more video.
What do you think is the number one biggest challenge facing SEOs in 2021?
The answer, I think unquestionably for me, is insane levels of competition. So most verticals are saturated to the max level, and overcoming this is very tough. And most people don't go and join category-leading monster companies that are already at the top. Some people do, but many people, they join scrappier, more underdog type companies, and you're faced with the problem of, damn, all these other bigger, badder, more powerful companies are dominating the top results for all the most important keywords, and where do we go from here? And I think that's the number one challenge.
Cool. If you've got any questions, if you'd like this presentation, if you'd like an SEO audit on your site for free, just come around and see Angelique at the impressive stand around the back there. But otherwise, that is SEO success. Thanks so much for your time.